Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
We have talked about Gunsmoke for quite some time here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, and I continually mention that some people get upset that I point out that the authenticity of the radio Gunsmoke is a lot different, and some of you have agreed, and a couple of you have not, but we have a lot of people who enjoy William Conrad as Marshal Matt Dillon. Here's an episode of Gunsmoke. This goes back all the way to January 30th, 1954. It's entitled Gun Smuggler.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on West, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Over here, Matt. Take a look at these.
What?
Which do you think's prettiest?
Oh. I don't wear galluses, Kitty. Not like those, anyway.
Oh, Matt. Mr. Jonas ordered them all the way from New York. We got to encourage him. The store will never stock anything but beans and ammunition.
Well, I can use beans and ammunition, but I won't wear those.
They're lovely. You'd look nice in a pair of bright suspenders.
Galluses.
All right, galluses. You like the purple one?
No. But they're not as bad as those pink and orange ones. But what is that they got stitched on them, anyway? Chickens?
Don't be silly. They're parrots. Real fancy, Matt.
Yeah, they sure are.
I'll buy them for you.
No, you won't.
Please, Matt.
Give them to Chester if you want. They're more his style than mine.
All right, I will. You refuse to be elegant.
I refuse. And if Chester has any sense, he will, too. Wearing those people will think he's a whiskey drummer or a barber.
That beats looking like a buffalo hunter. Mr. Dillon?
Oh, you looking for me, Chester?
Yes, sir. Hello, Miss Kitty.
Good morning, Chester.
Mr. Dillon, there's a sergeant from Fort Dodge over at the office. Major Evans sent him in.
Oh, what does he want?
He says the major... Gracious alive, look at them galluses. My...
What does he want, Chester?
He says the major wants to talk to you.
Oh.
Right away, he said. Chicken.
Well, where is the major?
Hmm?
The major.
Out at Fort Dodge, I guess.
Well, Chester, you tell the sergeant I might ride out sometime tomorrow if I'm not busy.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's only 5 miles, Matt. Might be important.
I know, but I've dealt with Major Evans before, Kitty. Was there any mail this noon, Chester?
No, sir, not a thing. For 3 days now.
Yeah, that much less trouble.
Uh-oh. Here comes some trouble crossing the plaza.
No, what?
Major Evans.
Huh? And I guess he really does want to see me.
Sure looks like it.
Good afternoon, Marshal.
Well, how are you, Major? Why don't you sit down?
No, thanks.
Hello, Major Evans.
Hello, Chester. Marshal, I sent Sergeant Bowers after you this morning.
Well, I was figuring on maybe riding out tomorrow, Major.
I prefer not to wait another day.
Oh, what's the trouble?
Pawnees are raiding again.
I hadn't heard that.
Well, it's an Army matter. Except for one thing.
Oh?
They've been supplied with rifles, Marshal, and I'm convinced those rifles come out of Dodge.
Why?
Well, it's the closest source of supply, and I want you to stop it.
Well, I'll gladly stop it, Major. If it's true. We can find that out easily enough.
How?
We'll go over and see Mr. Jonas right across the street there. I'll be back shortly, Chester.
Okay.
Come along, Major.
Who is this Jonas, Marshal?
He's the only man in Dodge who sells rifles.
Oh, I see.
Anybody who's been buying lately, he'll know.
Can he be trusted?
I trust him.
Well, somebody's been buying rifles here, and they might have paid this Jonas to keep it quiet.
He isn't that kind of a man, Major.
Well, I hope you're going to buy something this time, Marshal.
Well, I'm afraid not, Mr. Jonas, but I want you to meet Major Evans from Fort Dodge.
How do you do, Major?
Mr. Jonas?
What can I do for you?
We'd like to know if anybody's been buying rifles in quantity lately.
Indian trouble, huh?
Yeah, I told you, Marshal,
Told him what?
that you've been selling rifles to some gun smuggler.
No, Major, I don't believe I have.
How do you know whether you have or not? Anybody can walk in here.
Sure they can. But if I didn't know them, and they bought up a wagon load of rifles on the sudden, I'd tell the marshal about it right off. The only men who've ever been in here are buffalo hunters, and they only buy 2 or 3 rifles at the most.
Well, Major?
Those rifles are coming from Dodge somehow. I know they are. And I'll stop it if I have to search every wagon that leaves here.
You mean you'd use soldiers for that?
Yes?
That'd be trouble. Sooner or later, they'd try to stop some hardhead who'd start shooting.
Soldiers are trained to shoot back, Marshal.
I don't want innocent men shot down for no reason at all,
The
Major.
Pawnees raided a ranch down on Crooked Creek just this morning, Marshal, 50 miles from here.
They did. But how come nobody's heard about it?
The man and the woman can't be moved, and their 2 boys were killed at once. The cavalry patrol found them this morning and sent a messenger to the fort.
Well, why didn't you tell me this before? We got to get Doc down there.
I'm on my way there myself. We'll give you an escort, Marshal.
Good. If you can keep up with us.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first,
January 30th, 1954, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The big Overstock sale going on right now at MyPillow.com. If you know somebody who likes body pillows, the MyPillow body pillow, deeply discounted to just $39.95. Also, they have select pillowcases, couch pillows, and individual towels deeply discounted. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener square, use my promo code USA, and get deep discounts just for you at MyPillow.com. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now more of Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad as Marshal Dillon, January 30th, 1954.
We rode hard, but it was nearly dawn when we reached what was left of the ranch on Crooked Creek. It had been burned, of course, and the stock destroyed. Half a dozen men of the cavalry patrol were standing on all-night watch while their Indian scout Tobeel slept peacefully in his blanket. The lieutenant in charge informed us that the man and the woman had both died soon after he dispatched his messenger to Fort Dodge. But Doc wanted to have a look at him anyway, so Major Evans and Chester and I went to the fire, had a cup of coffee.
I don't know anything I'd rather have right now than this coffee.
You ought to join the Army, Chester.
The Army doesn't usually serve coffee all night, and I don't approve of this fire.
Major, look at Tobeel over there. If he thought the Pawnees would be back, he'd have put the fire out himself.
Sound asleep. I suppose you're right, Marshal. After all, he's an Indian himself.
He's a good scout, too. Yeah, I've known Tobil a long time.
Yeah, he's rather undisciplined, but valuable.
I'll bet he is. On both counts. Oh, Doc. Well?
All the usual things, Matt. And a few new ones.
Chester. Get Doc some coffee, will you?
Oh, sure.
Scalped, I suppose.
For a start, Major.
Worse than that?
How that man lived as long as he did, I don't know.
Savage devils.
But I think the woman was unconscious during most of it. The man must have tried to kill her and only grazed her head.
How do you know, Doc?
Here's your coffee, Doc. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Chester. The groove across her head was too narrow for a rifle bullet, Matt. And I don't think those Pawnees had pistols.
No, but they certainly had rifles.
Oh, that reminds me. I dug a bullet out of the man, Matt. Here it is.
Huh. That's funny.
What is?
Now, this is a .44 caliber. You don't see many of them anymore. Here, take a look, Major.
Yeah, yes, I believe you're right. What do you make of it, Marshal?
Major, I think I can find this gun smuggler.
You do?
Yeah. I'd like to borrow Tobil over there to help me.
My scout? What for?
Well, those Pawnees have a day's start on us, but with Tobil's help, I think I can catch up with them.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm afraid that'd bring out the whole tribe. No, I'll run this war party down myself as soon as their supply of arms is cut off.
Well, there'll just be Tobil and Chester and me, Major. It's the gun smuggler I'm after, not the Indians.
And I'll go with you.
Now, they'd spot a troop of cavalry, but 3 of us can get through the country without their knowing it if we have any luck at all.
Just what you have in mind, Marshal.
I'll tell you later, if it works.
Well, I guess I can't stop you.
No, you can't. And I'll go without Tobil if I have to.
Yes, you would. All right, Marshal, take him.
Thanks.
I just hope you know what you're doing.
Major, does a man ever know? For sure.
Pawnee ride slow. They don't think we follow.
Well, I just hope they don't find out, Tobil.
Too bad they find out. Maybe 30 Pawnee war party. They kill us very easy.
We better breathe our horses a little. Let's stop here.
Right now, I wished I was in the army. I'd feel a whole lot safer.
Marshal, why we follow Pawnee?
Yeah. I'd feel better if I knew myself. Maybe.
Well, I'll tell you. First of all, that was a .44 caliber bullet Doc found in that rancher's body.
Only Henry rifle shoot 44, huh?
Yeah, that's right, Tobil.
My, I ain't seen a 44 Henry since I can remember.
No. Most of the buffalo hunters around here use a .45. Or if they use a Sharps or a Remington, that's a .50. You just don't see many .44s.
Army, they have all Springfield 45.
Yeah, but somebody's cornered a bunch of them Henry 44s and sold them to the Pawnees. Is that what you figure?
Yeah, that's right, Chester. But whoever it is didn't think far enough ahead.
What do you mean?
Well, he sold his rifles, all right, but his customers are going to have to come back to him for ammunition. They can't get it anyplace else. And the market's all his.
Sounds to me like he's created a pretty good business.
Yeah, too good. Now those Pawnees will be looking for him. And him alone.
Marshal, right. Most Indian only need rifle. Steal ammunition all over. One place, other place. Pawnee, no fine 44 bullet, no place.
So they'll go back to this man. They have to find him. And if we can keep on their trail long enough, we'll just naturally find him, too.
30 Pawnee on warpath, all armed with good rifle. Maybe find us before we find them.
Yeah. I guess it could work both ways.
Well, nobody's going to find anybody if we sit here. All right, let's get moving. The Pawnee Trail led south in a straight line, as though they knew exactly where they were going. We followed them for 2 days, and on the third, Tobeel informed us that the war party had been joined by another one of about equal strength. A band of Indians this large would protect itself with a ring of Scots, so we were forced to drop back and follow them more slowly. And then they turned to the east. And on the fourth day, we began to wonder if we were wrong about their trying to find the gun smuggler. Maybe they were just going to lose themselves in Oklahoma territory.
Big country, Marshal. Pawnee maybe blow apart like sand.
You mean they might separate and wait a while before raiding back into Kansas?
Sometime do.
Mr. Dillon, look. Yonder comes a rider.
What?
White man. Cowboy.
Yeah. He's riding pretty hard.
Ride like man afraid.
Yeah, let's wait here for him. Oh, boy. Hello.
You're headed in the wrong direction.
Oh, why?
If you men are smart, we'll turn around and ride. This country's alive with Pawnee.
You see any?
If I had, I probably wouldn't be here to tell you about it. But I seen plenty of sign, and a worse kind of sign, too.
Oh, what do you mean?
They had a powwow of some sort about 20 miles back of me, mister. They left a white man there.
Oh? Was he dead?
Just about.
Did you talk to him?
I talked to him, but he didn't have much to say, not with no tongue.
You left him there?
That's not all I done to him, but he could still use one hand. I give him my 6-gun.
Ah, I see.
It's a funny thing, though. There was wagon tracks leading into that camp and leading out of it, too. Can't figure it nohow.
Pawnee will probably no keep wagon, Marshal.
Marshal? You're chasing them Indians?
No. It's the wagon we're after. And whoever's driving it.
Well, your business, Marshal. But I'm riding all the way to Dodge, and I'm going to stay there.
Maybe we'll see you when we get back.
I'll be there. But I wouldn't gamble on seeing you. So long.
So long.
Well, what do you make of it, Mr. Dillon?
Well, as Tobeel says, the Pawnees wouldn't fool around with a wagon. There must have been more than one white man.
We find wagon, I think, maybe 5-6 hours.
Yeah, but it'll be dark soon.
Tobeel track wagon in dark.
We're going to have to move fast to be out of this country by daylight.
We move.
Yeah, that's the wagon. But I only see one man there, Tobeel.
One man. Big fire. Full white man fire.
Well, we've crawled close enough. Let's stop here.
Yeah.
We gonna rush him, Mr. Dillon?
If he starts shooting, Chester, we'll have the Pawnees down on us.
Wait for sleep. Tobeel. Crawl up. Cut throat.
No, Tobeel. I gotta be sure this is the right man.
William Conrad as Marshal Matt Dillon, Chester Parley Bear, Georgia Ellis as Kitty, Howard McNear as Doc Adams. Gunsmoke, January 30th, 1954. The conclusion is next, along with another yours truly Johnny Dollar story on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
America's founders knew power corrupts, and ultimate power corrupts ultimately, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's why they built in checks and balances to prevent any one group from seizing all power.
And that's why our president is elected by a college of electors to protect the rights of little states like Delaware and Wyoming against giants like New York and California. After all, our country is a republic, the United States of America, not the United State. Our states are independent sovereign powers who created the federal government, not the other way around.
And that's why all power ultimately lies in we the people and the states, not a central dictatorship of cronies. Did you know that? Thank God for the U.S. Constitution.
Find out more how our amazing Constitution and Bill of Rights protect us, the citizens, against power-crazed politicians in Washington. Help us take back America. Go to ouramericanrights.com. Brought to you by the American Media Council.
Now the conclusion of Gunsmoke, Gunsmuggler, from January 30th, 1954, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
I gotta be sure this is the right man.
Yeah, but how are you going to find out?
Well, bluff him. Look, Chester, you and Tobeel stay here. I'm gonna walk up to that fire.
You're taking an awful chance, Mr. Dillon.
Play on me.
Thanks.
Stop where you are. Get your hands up.
No.
I'll kill you.
And my friends out there will kill you.
What friend?
Put your gun away, mister. You haven't got a chance.
Who are you anyway? What are you doing here?
Put up your gun. They might get nervous.
How do I know anybody's out
All right,
there?
then shoot, and you'll find out. Well, go ahead.
You must be crazy. All right, I'll put it up. There.
All right, now tell me about you and the Pawnees.
Pawnees? What are you talking about?
I want to know where you got those rifles you sold them. Those Henry 44s.
You're a lawman.
Don't try it, mister. You can't outdraw me.
Maybe not. But I'd sure bring them Indians down on you fast.
Bet you won't live to see them.
I won't hang either.
You won't hang. You'll get about 10 years in prison. It's not enough, but that's all you'll get.
What are you, a sheriff or something?
I'm a U.S. Marshal.
No, Marshal, all I gotta do is shoot, or make you shoot. And them Pawnees will take care of the rest. So, I make you a deal.
I don't make deals, mister.
But you have to make this one if you want to live. Because I've decided I'd just as soon die right here as spend 10 years in prison.
Well, what about your partner?
A partner? You know everything, don't you?
Just about.
You can't touch him. He's with the Pawnees. They keep him as sort of a hostage till I get back from Tascosa with more ammunition.
You buy the rifles in Tascosa?
Sure. But them Indians is kind of mad about not finding .44 caliber bullets real handy. We foxed him good.
You're not very bright, mister. How do you suppose I know about your partner?
How did you?
We found him where you met the Pawnees. He was dead.
Dead?
Yeah. You want me to tell you about it?
Well, what's there to tell? They got mad and killed him.
He died slow, mister. Real slow.
They tortured him.
That's right. He wasn't very pretty when we found him.
I don't want to hear about it.
He was your partner. Might happen to you,
I said
too.
I don't want to hear about it.
Well, I'm going to tell you about it anyway. First of all, they
No,
cut his...
don't tell me. I can't stand that. I hate that.
All right, then listen to me. If you start shooting, I'm not going to kill you or neither of my friends, but the Pawnees will come and they'll think you tried to fool them. They'll do worse things to you than they did to him.
I couldn't go through that. I've seen what they do.
All right, give me your gun. Come on.
Take it. I don't care what happens as long as they don't get me.
All right. Now go get your horse, mister. And hurry. And none of us will get out of here.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman Macdonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by John Meston, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were John Daner, Lawrence Dobkin, Harry Bartell, Barney Phillips, and Jack Edward. Harley Bear is Chester, Howard McNear is Doc, and Georgia Ellis is Kitty. Gunsmoke has been selected by the Armed Forces Radio Service to be heard by our troops overseas. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke.
Norman Macdonald said MacDonald had a guarded interest in taking the show to television, but publicly he declared our show is perfect for radio. And he feared, as John Dunning writes in On the Air, the Encyclopedia of Old-Time Radio, which you can purchase on our webpage, classicradio.stream, Gunsmoke, confined by a picture, could not possibly be as authentic or attentive to detail. In the end, wrote Dunning, CBS simply took it away from Norman Macdonald and began preparing for the television version. January 30th, 1954, Gunsmoke on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Here's some great news. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or if you just have a plan you're not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called MediShare. There are hundreds of thousands of members, and they love it. MediShare has a 98% customer satisfaction rating, and this is obviously huge. The typical family saves around $6,000 a year switching to MediShare. Find out more. They're great to talk to. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE.
Well, let's start another yours truly Johnny Dollar story. This one is the Flight 6 matter. This episode originally broadcast January 30th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Johnny Dollar.
Pete Codley, Johnny. Guaranteed transport.
Oh, hiya, Pete.
Seen the papers?
No, I just got up. Why? What's happened?
Air crash, for one thing.
Air crash? Where?
Mexico. Flight 6, Aztec Caribbean line, Mexico City to Havana. Crashed in the mountains 10 minutes after takeoff. 7 passengers and a crew of 3.
Survivors?
The way it sounds, none.
Oh, tough. How do you come into it, Pete?
We underwrite a company that handles flight insurance down there. 3 of the passengers bought policies at the airport. We're stuck for $75,000. This is a nice time of the year in Mexico, Johnny.
What do you want me to do? Find out why it crashed?
No, I know why it crashed. Somebody meant for it to.
What do you mean?
That plane blew up in midair. I'll get you a reservation.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to the Home Office, Guaranteed Transport Insurance Company, Hartford, Connecticut. The following is an accounting of expenditures during my investigation of the Flight 6 matter. Item 1, $173.20, airline fare and incidentals, Hartford, Connecticut to Mexico City. I checked my baggage through customs and started making inquiries, and then some more. And after the 14th Quien Sabe, maybe is better you ask him, I found the office I was looking for. Or at least I thought I'd found it. The flowery Spanish title on the door translated roughly into Inspector General of the Department of Civil Air Transport. But when I opened the door, I wasn't so sure.
Come in, Jack. Make yourself to home.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking for
You found him. That's me. Don't let the big words on the door fool you. I'm all there is. There ain't no more. So come in. Shut the door.
All right, thanks.
Is your name Dollar?
That's right, Johnny Dollar.
Macklin here. Macklin. One-time mongrel from the south side of Chicago. I got a wire from your office. Said you'd be in on Pan Am Flight 12. Pull up a chair and squat, will you?
All right.
What were you expecting? Spanish grandee with a white silk shirt, a black silk tie, and a second cousin on the cabinet?
Well, maybe. At least I wasn't figuring on a Southside Mick with a 17th century desk and a cotton sweatshirt.
Well, now, here's what little dope we've got on the crash. Most of it you probably know already.
I left on 20-minute notice. All I've seen is one newspaper item. I can use a lot more.
Well, you won't get much more out of that report. We got a crew over at the wreckage around 2 hours ago.
Survivors?
No, he didn't have a chance. That crate is scattered over 10 acres of mountainside. Didn't catch fire, though, so we might turn up something or other. Oh, I got a good man in charge up there, Juno Romero. You'll meet him later. I'm sending another jeep up there in a few minutes, and you can go along if you want.
Thanks, I will. My company figures sabotage. Any chance they're wrong? Could it have been accidental? Equipment failure, personnel failure, something like that?
Well, if I thought so, I'd be up there at the wreck myself. That'd be my kind of job, but this one's different. You know, it's detective work, your kind of job. And Gino Romero's. Now, he talks as soft as a girl out of finishing school. Looks a little like one, in fact. But underneath it, he's as sharp as a tack and tougher than an old boot full of nails.
What actually happened when the plane went down? All I've heard is that it blew up in midair.
That's right. Well, a few Indians were the only ones who saw it. They were burning charcoal up on a slope at about 9,000 feet. They were watching the plane circle, gaining altitude. Then one big flash, the tail blew off. Pilot didn't have a chance. He rode it straight into the side of the mountain.
The tail? That sounds like the baggage compartment.
That's the way I figure it. An explosive of some kind. A time bomb smuggled on board before the takeoff. I'm covering that angle from this end. I'm rounding up every one of the baggage gang, the maintenance crew, anybody who had a chance to get near that plane before it left the field out there.
And what have you found out?
Well, so far, nothing. We're trying to check back, too, on the individual passengers, the plane crew, trying to find out who might benefit by having any one of them dead. Well, I guess that'll be your angle, too.
Yeah, at least as far as insurance is concerned.
Well, there were 3 flight policies issued, and the names are in the reports here.
Yeah, I know. I've got them. The Home Office gave them to me, along with the names of the beneficiaries.
I haven't talked to any of them yet. I figured that you know how to go about it better than I would.
And there's another possible insurance angle, and that's the cargo. Do you know if there was anything valuable on board?
Worth destroying for the insurance, you mean? No, it was done by somebody who deliberately set out to kill one of the 10 people on board that plane. And who didn't mind killing 9 others to get that one. It was premeditated, cold-blooded. Now, you get him, Johnny. Get him for me, and then just leave me alone with him for about... Come in.
One of you is Senor McLean, Inspector General del Departamento...
Yes, that's me. What can I do for you, Jack?
They will not give to me any information, Senor McLean. Not the police, nor the airline office, nor anyone.
Who are you, and what information do you want?
I am Ramon de Lagos, Senor, and I am here...
De Lagos?
Wait a minute. That's the name of one of the...
Yes. Look, are you related to Maria de Lagos?
My wife. She was on the plane. Now tell me, please, what news do you have? Have you reached the scene of the crash?
Yes, we have. 2 hours ago.
And what did you... Is there any chance?
I'm sorry, there were no survivors.
No. Oh, no.
I'm sorry, Senor de Lagos.
It is too terrible.
I didn't know you were here in the city, or I'd have let you know right away. I sent word to your office in Havana.
I have been here for 6 weeks. Maria came for a visit only a few days ago. No.
I know, it's a rough deal. I am sorry. Oh, this is Johnny Dollar from the States.
Senor.
How do you do, sir? He's here to investigate the cause of this thing.
What is the use, senor? It will not return life to the dead.
No, but I don't like to see a murderer get away with it.
A murderer? Then the rumors are true.
The plane was destroyed deliberately.
It is hard to believe that anyone would... Senor McLean, what arrangements are being made?
The bodies will be brought down to the Federal District Hospital, and I'll see that you're notified.
Gracias, senor.
No, let's see. I believe your wife's brother, Don Serrano, is staying at the Hotel Regis.
Yes, he is, but I am at the Monte Casino. Don Serrano and I are not friendly.
I see. All right, senor, then I'll contact you at the Monte Casino as soon as I have word.
You are very kind.
And again, I'm sorry.
Yes, that is all one can say. Adios, senores.
Know anything about him, Mac?
Well, only what his wife filled out on the flight form. He's Cuban, residence and business address Havana, in the export game. And you know, of course, that his wife was one of the 3 people who took out accident policies.
But naming a brother, Don Serrano, as beneficiary, I wonder why.
Well, that's one of the 6 dozen questions you can ask when you start prowling. Look, I hate to rush you, Johnny, but I ought to start that jeep up the mountain.
I'm ready anytime.
I'll let Gino know you're coming. And you check with me if you want anything. You'll have full cooperation from the federal police and the government. And to repeat just one thing, Johnny.
Yeah, I know. Whoever did it, get him.
Check.
The jeep driver was a young Mexican boy who'd been brought up in the best and wildest chauffeuring traditions of the capital. He knew only one way to drive, with both accelerator and horn wide open. Since most of the other drivers were playing the same game, it was a sheer miracle that we ever got through the narrow streets of the city and finally reached the open valley. Maybe the colored postcard pasted on the dashboard, a picture of the Virgin of Guadalupe, had something to do with it. We finally left the last cart road and bumped along a narrow woodcutter's trail, cleared and widened enough now so that we could drive into the crash area and miss the 1.5-mile walk the first rescue party had been forced to take. For some reason, only a small part of the wreckage had caught fire and burned, and the rest was strewn piecemeal along a great raw gash through the trees and brush. Men in uniforms of the Mexican Army searched through the tragic debris, lifting, sorting, and collecting. And nearby, a silent group of Indians were watching, with the age-old sadness in their eyes.
You are Senor Dollar, no?
Yes.
Gino Romero, senor.
Oh, glad to know you, Gino.
It's a terrible thing, no?
Yeah. Any ideas yet?
Not of importance, but it's certain nowadays. It was caused by one explosion which has occurred in the baggage compartimento. Véngase. Come on. We have found many pieces which can be identified, can be known which part of the plane they are in before the crash.
I see.
Toward the front, these pieces are more large, but in the back, near the tail, they are very little. Oh, here, you look. These are pieces of the baggage, muy pequeño, very tiny.
Oh, yeah. The crash itself wouldn't have done this. It had to be an explosion.
Seguro. Look. Is burnt a little each one of these pieces, but these more big ones from the seats of the plane, they are not burned. Here, you smell these ones.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Either dynamite or nitroglycerin.
What's dynamite? We have found little tiny pieces of red paper from the wrappings on the sticks. What's dynamite?
Any idea how much? How big a charge?
One of the soldados, Pascual, who have used much explosive, is think maybe 30 or 40 pounds.
Light enough to be put on board in a piece of luggage. It's going to be tough, Gino. Plenty tough to...
They're bringing out the bodies.
The Indians set up a low, wailing dirge, and one of them tapped softly on a native drum. A wordless terror before the ancient mystery, death. One by one, the bodies passed us, borne by the silent soldiers.
Madre de Dios, may they find peace.
Then, for the first time, I noticed the girl, standing alone some distance away, watching without expression as the stretchers passed her. She was young, blonde, and beautiful. Not conventionally so, but beautiful as a young animal is beautiful. and she looked very much out of place.
You are observing the señorita, no?
What's she doing up here?
¿Quién sabe? She's strange, that one. Always she's look for danger. She's what you say, the daredevil. What is like she always have the charm. Death has never find her. So perhaps she has come here to look on his face.
Do you know who she is?
Pues sí. She's American. Her name is Marvel Terrence.
Marvel Terrence?
You have heard of her, senor?
I'd heard of her, all right. And I'd wondered what kind of a girl would have a first name like Marvel. And now I knew, partly at least. And I planned to find out a whole lot more. 3 of the people who died on that plane had taken out flight policies. Maria de Lagos was one of them. The other 2 were men, both of whom had named as beneficiary Marvel Terrence.
Now, here's our star to tell you about tomorrow's intriguing episode of this week's story.
Tomorrow, a fighting girl and a lucky break. And then murder cancels the score. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Les Crutchfield, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Be sure to join us tomorrow night, same time and station, for the next exciting episode of Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. This is Roy Rowan speaking.
From January 30th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, here on Classic Radio Theater. Do me a favor, thank this radio station and support their advertisers. It is their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we're here. Also, if you have a moment, visit my webpage, classicradio.stream, where you can stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting. You can get all of our social media links there, including Twitter and on Facebook. And you can also contact me there as well, classicradio.stream. Our shows are available anywhere podcasts are served, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Just search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in. Tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.